I just spent 10 days road tripping across the country from Louisville, Kentucky, all the way up to Glacier National Park in Montana, and we did it in my little brother's RAV4, across the country from State Park to National Park. And in today's video, I'm going to go over our whole trip itinerary, where we went, how long we stayed, and just the overall rating and how the experience was as a whole, going from our route all the way up to Glacier National Park. And if you're planning a cross-country trip yourself, this video might be able to help you out and give you some pointers and recommendations on where I would stay or how I would change things to do them differently next time. So like I just said, we started our trip in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a pretty far ways away from Glacier National Park. If you actually look at the map, you're going to be spending at least 24 hours driving up to that area. Obviously, that's without stops as well, and we wanted to make our trip up there very worth it. So we stopped in South Dakota first. We actually drove from Kentucky all the way up to South Dakota. That without stops was about a 12.5-hour drive. With stops and just getting some food and stuff, we ended up spending about 14 hours, I think, for the whole day in the car. Wasn't terrible, but that was definitely by far our longest day of driving. We just wanted to get that started and out of the way as soon as possible so we could get to the cool areas and cool parks and stuff like that. So that was the biggest drive of our trip, in my opinion. Didn't feel as long though for some reason, but I guess we started at like 4 a.m. and then we ended up there around 6 o'clock, which was enough time for us to grab groceries, dinner, and then set up at a really cool campsite, pretty much along the side of this river. And it was a really cool spot. And we had a nice, pretty chill night at the first campsite. Had showers, and a lot of these places that we did stay at did have showers and amenities and things like that, so we weren't just SOL. Day 2 of our trip, we got back in the car and drove 5.5 hours or so to Badlands National Park. That was with stops as well, based on where we stopped at our campsite. So 5.5 hours in the morning, and we got to Badlands, I'd say about like 11 o'clock or so in the afternoon. So not too bad in terms of timing, and we spent the full day in Badlands as well. We did, I think, 3 trails or so, and we just spent the time looking around, driving around the full Badlands Park. We went from start to finish to the entire park. Got to do some trails along the way, stopped at the visitor center, and just got to see some really cool things in the Badlands. Badlands, I think, is a great day trip option. There's a few good trails that if you want to spend some extra time doing, it's definitely worth it, but I think we got a pretty good experience just spending the one day in Badlands. I think if you wanted to do a 2-day trip there, you definitely could, but you're definitely going to want to fill it up with a longer trail, which they do have a few of those. But the coolest part about Badlands is where we camped. We actually dispersed camped off of the side of the road at a really crazy overlook. And during the night there, you can really see the stars out in Badlands because there's really nothing around the Badlands. So you have to see some really cool scenery when you look up at night, really clear skies as long as you're lucky and it's not raining or really cloudy. But I will say it was extremely windy. So make sure whatever tent setup you have, or if you're in an RV or anything like that, you're good. But if you're gonna camp close to the Badlands, make sure that you're doing it in a, I guess, appropriate spot, and you're going to be ready for the wind because it was really strong wind, and it did keep me up a bit at night. But aside from that lackluster sleeping experience, the Badlands were really cool. Definitely worth a visit if you haven't done so already. I still think it's probably at the lowest point of my trip in terms of just enjoyment out of each park that we went to. Day 3, we woke up and went straight over to Wall Drug. It's like this big attraction right next to the Badlands. It's actually the only like somewhat noticeable city in the area, and it have a really big convenience store. It's a pretty cool spot to stop in and grab breakfast if you don't want to do breakfast on your own. And it has some pretty cool stores all kind of mixed up in this one like Western style full superstore. Then we ended up 2.5 hours into Custer State Park. And Custer State Park is South Dakota's state park, and it's actually one of the coolest places that I actually experienced whenever we were on this trip. I didn't expect it being as cool as it was, but we got there, like I said, about 2.5 hours out from the Badlands, which isn't too bad, honestly. And we did a pretty cool trail called Little Devil's Tower inside Custer's Park, and it was a really cool trail. It was a few miles, and it was some really cool sceneries. You hike basically to the top of the mountain, and you have this insane overlook. This overlook was like pretty much 360 degrees around you, and there was really cool scenery pretty much everywhere you looked. It was definitely one of my favorite trails we did in this entire trip, and it's definitely an underrated one too. We got there a little rainy and stuff, but it was really cool still. And then it cleared up. It looks really awesome throughout the whole trail. Really cool sights. I took a couple pictures you can see here on the screen. I was really happy with this trail, and it wasn't too long or taxing. We ended the Custer day with, of course, taking showers at one of their campsites, which they have, which are really nice. And then we also just found a campsite that we reserved same day, because they have same day campsite reservations since we weren't able to reserve one in advance, because they do fill up really fast. Drove around a little bit, went back to our campsite. We attempted to cook food. It was pretty good, and then we ended up calling it there for Custer. Really cool campsite and a really cool experience. Definitely a really nice spot if you're near South Dakota, if you want to take like a weekend trip. You can definitely do a few trails out there, and I think the scenery is really awesome if you don't want to do a full-on national park. Now, day 4 was a really long day of driving. We spent about 8 to 9 hours in the car. We did do a detour through a highway, and it was a pretty scenic highway. It went really far up and really far down a mountain. It was definitely, I think, added about 30 minutes to our drive, maybe an hour at most, but it was pretty cool nonetheless. I probably wouldn't do that again, and I would probably just stick to the highway just to get to our next spot as fast as possible. And our next spot was pretty much just another highway. It's one of the coolest ones though in the nation, in my opinion. It's called Beartooth Pass or Beartooth Highway, and this is a really cool highway that had some insane sceneries. You drove into the mountains whenever you get into the highway, and then you pretty much scale up the side of a mountain as you drive through it, and then you can make it to the very top on normal roads with your car. And then there were some insane views there. Probably one of the most craziest drives and just highways I've ever been on in my life. Really cool scenery. I'll put some more pictures up here too so you can see, but it was just really crazy. And I would recommend it if you're gonna go into Yellowstone if the highway's open. It is about an hour and a half to it's about 2 hours of just scenic views getting into Yellowstone. So if you're coming from a certain way or it doesn't make much sense to you, then you can definitely skip it because Yellowstone's really cool. But Beartooth Highway is really awesome. During this time of the year, Beartooth Highway isn't that open. There's not a lot of campgrounds open, so we ended up finding one at the very end of the trail. It wasn't amazing. I wasn't the biggest fan of where we stayed at the end of the day. And then we drove, I think, about another 20 minutes the next morning into Yellowstone. Speaking of Yellowstone, day 5 was our Yellowstone day. And I really wish we got 2 days in Yellowstone, but we kind of only limited it to 1 so we could have the most time in Glacier. Yellowstone is massive though. I mean, we got in there and just the first hour driving through Yellowstone, it is crazy. I mean, you get in, you almost feel like you enter a different dimension. You drive in, you obviously enter the park, you're in through some wooded areas for a bit, and then you open up to these giant plains and mountains backing it with a bunch of all kinds of wildlife. It was crazy. And then obviously you have the geysers the further in you go. But I mean, we spent all day driving Yellowstone. I think we spent about a total, all in, that day and then the next morning after that, probably around 5 hours driving through Yellowstone. So we saw a lot of the park. It was a really cool just experience driving through, just given the time crunch that we were on. We pretty much drove through a lot of the cool sightseeings. We stopped on the side of the roads and did little walkouts so you could see some really cool scenery as well. And we had a really fun time doing that too, just stopping and chilling and taking a look at some cool spots. We did obviously do the showers, and then Yellowstone Park actually has laundry available too, so you can do your laundry there, and that's exactly what we did. Took a shower, did some laundry, had a good time there, and then we stopped by near our laundry area as the dryer was going, and we saw the infamous waterfall that looked really, really cool. Got a picture of that on my camera, and I think that was a really cool area to experience. You can really see the yellow stones in that little area, in that little canyon there, so I think that was a really cool spot. And a really cool stop too if you want to go and visit that park. Aside from the few easy walking trails we did, just kind of walking out and just doing a little tour on little side boardwalk areas, we did stop into Old Faithful to see the famous geyser that they have there that goes off about every hour or so. We actually did hike up the little half-mile all-round trail that kind of goes up the mountain, and then you get this really cool overlook, and we actually got the video and saw it go off, which is really cool. I'm glad we were able to do that. And then after that, we were pretty much lower and out of food, and there's really nothing else out there around West. No major grocery stores even outside of the park or anything like that. So there was very limited pickings out there. So we ended up settling on some okay food at one of the restaurants. I wouldn't recommend going to any of the restaurants in Yellowstone. They were just average and they were pretty expensive. But if you are going to go to any of them, I would probably do whatever's out there in the Old Faithful area. The campground out there has a lot of options and stuff like that, lodging and stuff. I would recommend doing the food in Old Faithful there in that area. The wait's probably the least amount of time, and it's probably the best quality. We did camp out in Yellowstone though, like I mentioned, in one of the parks. That was pretty fun, and the campgrounds were pretty nice as well. Basic outhouses and stuff like that. No showers in all the campgrounds, so be mindful of that if you're gonna be doing one of the campgrounds with a tent and stuff like that. But we found a pretty cool spot. We got really lucky because those campsites fill up quick, and we got the last one available randomly after a cancellation, I think. So got lucky there. But the day after our Yellowstone day, day 6 of one of those really long driving sessions up to Glacier National Park. And this was about a 7-hour drive without stops. And honestly, this is probably my least favorite drive of our trip. Aside from the first part of it, which is getting up and out of Yellowstone, the drive out of Yellowstone took us 2.5 hours because, I mean, realistically, both parks are not too far apart. It's just basically north up into Montana at the very top. The drive up through Yellowstone is a long one, and you have to kind of go around the side, and there's really not any direct ways that are really fast too. But in my opinion, it was a really cool drive that we did for those 2.5 hours. You saw some crazy sceneries, geysers to your left and right, crazy mountains, tons of water. Yellowstone is filled with water, and just really cool sceneries. It was a really cool drive. Although we didn't get to do some trails that we wanted to do while we were there, I think it was a really cool just looking out the window and just seeing everything that Yellowstone has to offer. I definitely will be back one day and we'll definitely be doing more trails, but it was a cool just drive through it. We ended up in a small city called Gardner, right north of Yellowstone's park, and it had service and stuff like that because Yellowstone has no service in anywhere of their park, so we pretty much off the grid for a full day. Got some groceries in Gardner. It was a nice cool little spot you can kind of come into and be right next to the park. The other 4.5 hours of that drive was pretty much just an interstate on a highway, and then the last 2 hours were pretty much in the middle of absolutely nowhere. You pass through just extremely windy, crosswind heavy areas of just grasslands. Not fun to drive through, but we did that for about 2 hours. After driving through all that, we finally made it to St. Mary, which is right outside of Glacier National Park, and that's actually where our campground was. We stayed at this place called Divide Creek Campground, and it was a really cool spot. No service in this little city either, and we had Wi-Fi at the campground though, so that was kind of cool. And it was a really nice spot, really low key, really chill, 15 minutes from the park. Like not even 15 minutes, like 5 minutes. You drive outside, go down one street, and then you're in the park at the east entrance. And then you're also about 25 minutes from Many Glacier, which is really cool. That's, I think, where a lot of your popular trails are, like Grinnell Glacier and Iceberg Lake. We'll get into what we did on the next few days, but Glacier was our primary place that we wanted to go, and we spent the most time in this park. Now, day 7 was one of my favorite days of our trip. We actually ended up going to Many Glacier, like I just mentioned, and we spent the full day doing our Iceberg Lake hike. It's about a 10-mile hike all around, and it's a really cool back and forth hike. You kind of basically go the side of a mountain and you get to see out and see some insane valleys, and then obviously the end of it you walk through some snow and you end up at this really cool lake surrounded by mountains. I've never seen anything like it before. It was really cool. The lake was still frozen over, but I still think it was a really cool sight to see, and we got some cool pictures and stuff along the way. We spent, I'd say, until about like 2 o'clock hiking that trail, took our time, and we ended up getting back and we ate at the Many Glacier restaurant right at the beginning of the trail, and they actually had some really good pizza there, so it's a really cool stop if you want some quick food. It's actually not too insanely priced, and they have some good drink offerings and a good gift shop as well there. After that, we also did some gift shop running around. There's some lodges and stuff like that there with other shops and just areas to walk around and look at. And then we obviously drove around a little bit and just saw some of the scenery in Many Glacier. But we spent the whole day out there in that little area. Unfortunately, Grinnell Glacier is one of the coolest trails in the entire park. It was closed from bear activity, so kind of a bummer, but we got to do, I think, in my opinion, the second best trail in that area. After getting back and just cooking dinner at our campsite and spending the night there at the same spot again, we ended up starting our day 8, and day 8 was pretty much just a more relaxed day going through East Glacier, because Many Glacier is at the top right of the park. East Glacier is kind of like in the middle on the right still, but it's a pretty good distance away from Many Glacier. East Glacier is in St. Mary, so we drove through St. Mary, pretty much where we were staying, and then hopped right on to going to the Sun Road, and we kind of drove that all the way up until the end of where we could. It was still closed at the time we were going. It opened up 2 days after I got back. Kind of bummed, but oh well, no big deal. We ended up doing St. Mary Falls on this day and a few of the other small like little pull-off little sightseeings and trails and stuff like that. So St. Mary Falls was also one of my favorite trails we did for this whole trip. It was a really cool 3.5 mile hike, I think, and it was very doable. Plenty of people on the trail, and the sightseeing at the end was awesome. That fall I got a really cool shot with, and I think it was a really cool small hike that you can do in a few hours. Definitely one of the highlights of our trip, and especially after a 10-mile hike, this is a nice kind of break and just relaxing hike that we're able to do and kind of take our time with. After our little hike at the St. Mary Falls, we ended up going back up the road a little bit, had lunch in the parking lot, and then we also went up to Sun Point, which is a 0.3 mile hike, really, really small hike, but it's pretty much just like a little walkway, and you get to see out into the giant lake and area with the surrounding mountains around it. This is honestly probably my favorite, in terms of visuals, this is probably one of my favorite spots, being right there around the giant body of water and mountains and stuff like that. It was really, really cool. We actually ended up seeing a wedding happening there too, as we ended up at the end of the trail. If you don't have too much time in the day and you just want to stop out and get some really nice scenery and just chill in an open area, this is a really cool option right next to a parking lot and other things like that. Same as day 7, we ended up just back at campsite, cooking out, chilling, having a good time at the campsite, did a fire, did some s'mores, things like that. Day 9 was supposed to be our day that we rented e-bikes in West Glacier. West Glacier, if going to the Sun Road, is not open, which is like the main road that goes through the park. It's about a 2.5 hour drive across. You kind of go south and then all the way to the left and then up into West Glacier. This was a long drive. Since we did not do the e-bikes because we couldn't rent them in time and our setting up situation with the bikes was not great, we ended up doing one more trail in Many Glacier. We drove all the way back up there, and then we did the Swift Current Pass trail. We ended up doing a thing like a little over 10 miles of that trail. It's a full 13-mile trail, but when you get to the end, you're basically scaling the mountain. And with our current time and just overall where we were at in the trip, I was like, we need to get to West Glacier. So we did go a little bit up the mountain, but it was, in my opinion, it was plenty enough for what I wanted to see. And that trail was really, really long. There's some really cool pull-off points in that specific trail that I think would be a good spot to just stop and go back to if you're not going to do the full send and go up to the very top of the peak. But if you, it's a pretty cool trail nonetheless. I think Iceberg Lake still clears it for me. But it was a fun trail, and we did a lot of hiking that day too. Like I said, about 10 miles. Did lunch at the Many Glacier restaurant again, and then drove our 2.5 hours or 3 hours from that point all the way around to the other side of the park. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see West Glacier at all either. We could have done Avalanche Lake, but there was bear activity there, and it was really popular. We probably wouldn't have been able to get a spot. So we ended up just driving right outside of the park, and then we ended up going to a hip camp, a little campsite like right next to the park. And we camped there for the night. Really cool sunset next to this like big mountain in someone's backyard. Basically prepped to get ready, and then I ended up the next morning of day 10 was my flight home. We ended up ended up getting dropped off by my brother at the airport like really early in the morning, like 4 a.m. And I flew back that day, and he ended up continuing his trip into West Glacier and then up into Canada, into Banff and Yoho, and got to see some really cool mountains and scenery and stuff like that. But I have work, and he doesn't have work right now. I had to cut my trip a little short, but I honestly did miss my life in the Ville. So we're back here now, though. It was a really cool trip, really, really eye-opening in my opinion. I think just seeing how vast America is and how many parks and mountains and stuff like that are out there, it is really insane if you've never seen anything like it before. And I would recommend, if you've never done a trip like this before, you should do it. You don't have to tent camp like we did every night, but I do think it's worth at least going to 1 or 2 parks on like a longer trip and just experiencing nature and just everything around you and just disconnecting for a bit from the phones and the technology and just getting out there and just seeing what the world actually has to offer, because it's so easy to get into a routine. And I think getting out of that routine and getting out of your comfort zone, because it was out of my comfort zone, it was still worth it. And I think it'll be a trip that I remember for the rest of my life. So that's pretty much my full trip. I hope you enjoyed the photos that I took along the way and just my itinerary. I think if I were to change anything, I'd probably spend an extra day in Yellowstone. Unfortunately, just with our time constraint, we really couldn't. But I think 2 days at minimum in Yellowstone, 3 days at minimum in Glacier, you can spend those easily. And the other parks are really cool too. Badlands, I do think it's a one-day trip kind of thing. You can definitely see everything you want to see and do even a few trails in that time window still and be okay with it. Other parks were really pretty much the highlight of my trip, and I had a fun time going through the whole thing. A lot of driving, but I think it was worth it. Let me know if you've ever done a trip like this before in your lifetime and where I should go next. I kind of want to do Tetons next, or maybe Yosemite. That's really cool. And then obviously Canada looks absolutely crazy. So definitely a cool experience. But thanks for watching to the end if you all did. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.